Yo, what up? Think about it. The NBA Finals tonight, Milwaukee Bucks on ABC. Then, of course, on First Take, we got Patrick Mahomes live with us. First Take is now.
It's been 28 years since the Suns made a finals appearance. For the Bucks, 47 years, and their franchise player returns tonight.
Heaven now on earth, half a million on the watch. 3 bands on the sweater just to let it watch.
Fires up a three. It's good. And the foul. Chris Paul has taken control of game 1.
You can send it Bitcoin down to dribble it with stock.
Paul on the drive. Count it and one. Chris Paul's first finals game has been a brilliant performance.
Good morning and welcome to First Take. I'm Roz Gold-Onwude. I'm here with Keyshawn Johnson. We have Alan Hahn here. What's up, fellas? How you doing this morning?
How you doing?
We are great.
I know you finished 4 hours of radio.
4 hours of radio.
Came over.
Dressed for success.
Yeah, Stephen A will be mad at us, but that's okay.
Hey,
Didn't know Ronnie Lott was coming on the show, but that's good to have him.
Only jersey I'm going to wear, man. That's it.
It's a good one.
Yeah, that's it.
Hey, y'all been putting in the work. All right, I just got here, so I'm going to try to catch up. All right, let's get to it because hoop fans, we have endured through a basketball-less evening yesterday. But tonight, the NBA Finals are back for Game 2. Rejoice. Suns come off of a dominant win in Game 1, led by a third-quarter explosion from Chris Paul, in which he scored 16 of his 32 points and also finished the games with 9 assists. Now, while the Bucks caught the L, it was a good sign to see Giannis Antetokounmpo pour in 20 points and 17 rebounds after missing 2 games with a scary knee hyperextension. We heard from both teams' superstars heading into tonight's matchup.
Our team is built a little different. We have a real team, like a team where you can't just key on one guy or 2 guys. Everybody on our team is capable of having a big game, and everybody is comfortable and accept their roles.
I felt good. I was out there, so felt good. Tried to, help my team in any way possible. But going to Game 2, can't predict the future. Hopefully we can put ourselves in a position to win.
All right, so Keyshawn, I'll start with you. Winning a ring is more important to which player's legacy? Would you say it's Chris Paul, or would you say that ring's more important for Giannis's legacy?
I think it's more important for, if you want to talk legacy, Chris Paul. And the reason is because of the butt. Everything we talk about with Chris Paul, we talk about how much of a leader he is, leadership abilities, the teams that he's played on, getting in and out of the playoffs, getting bounced in certain rounds. All of that. First ballot Hall of Famer, no question about it. Top 5 point guard of all times. Probably no question about that either. But you see what I just did? It's always going to be a but. But he didn't win one. But he didn't win one. It's so important. He's so close right now, one up on the situation. You can point to a lot. You can point to Giannis, but Giannis is still young. Giannis has time, a lot of time, to go and win a championship. Chris Paul in Phoenix right now, the West is only going to get stronger next year. It's only going to get better. Golden State, Klay Thompson, Denver getting their guys back, Utah staying healthy, the Clippers staying healthy. You start to look at it, and the Phoenix Suns are right there. They're right there, so why not cash in now? And that box is checked. There's no question about it. It is Chris Paul.
Chris Paul will be in the Hall of Fame. Whatever happens in these finals have no bearing, have no say on that. He'll be in Springfield. It's already been established. It's already done. Winning the championship, cherry on top. A ring maybe obviously that a lot of players love to have because it does give you that little bit of extra cachet that puts you in a different conversation. But he's still going to the Hall of Fame. Giannis has won 2 MVPs, and yet he goes to a free throw line on the road, and he's mocked. There are a lot of people that watch him and look at his game and think, he's a guy that's really great at this game, but he's lacking one fundamental skill. And that's one of the most important skills in the game, which is shooting the basketball from anywhere outside of 8 feet. He is a great player who needs something to establish himself as an all-time great. A championship, leading a team to one, would certainly do it. So for him, this is the opportunity. And why is it now? You say he's young. Sure he is. But so is the rest of the East. And so is, and to me, the opportunity is now. In this situation, the window's open and available to him. Because if they don't win, there could be changes. There could be changes at coach. There could be changes on the roster. But we already know there'll be changes in the East because Brooklyn, well, they're not going anywhere. Philadelphia, they are there and they want to get better. And then, of course, there's the Boston Celtics, who realize that finishing 7th is not good enough, and they will be better. So if there's an opportunity to win, it's now, and he's got to do it because this might be his only chance. And if he doesn't get a ring, sure, 2 MVPs are nice, but I don't think he's got that same kind of respect as most MVPs do.
Here's what I would say against that, though, Allen, is one, Chris Paul isn't getting any younger. We don't know if he's coming back to Phoenix or moving on in free agency. We have no idea whatsoever. The West is loaded and going to only get stronger. The East, there's a handful of teams that you can talk about, and you just mentioned them. The Philadelphia 76ers, Boston, Brooklyn, obviously, maybe the Knicks, Atlanta in there you throw in, and then the Milwaukee Bucks. Milwaukee's been at the top of the leaderboard pretty much every single year that Giannis has been in the NBA. When you think about it, he has time. Chris Paul and the Phoenix Suns, there is no time. That's the only thing in Chris Paul's career that you check the box. Of course he's going into the Hall of Fame. There's no question about the Hall of Fame. But I can tell you this for sure. Going behind the velvet rope, standing at the club, trying to get in, and everybody walking up that have rings, and they tell Chris Paul, well, you can't come in right now. Why can't I come in? I'm a Hall of Famer. Well, you don't have a ring. Robert Horry just walked past you, man. He got 5 rings. That is the way players think. Hall of Fame is great. Players in professional sports, they want the championship no matter what. You ask anybody, they will trade in their Hall of Fame credentials to get a ring. And anybody that says that it's not true is a damn lie.
All right, well, I'm going to tell a damn lie then, because that is not true. Because if you're in the Hall of Fame, you're among the elite who ever play the game, whether you have a ring or not. And that's the velvet rope.
Why do you play the game, Allen? You play the game to get a ring. You don't play the game to get in the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame comes after.
Yes.
If you get in the Hall of Fame, great.
Nobody said he doesn't want to win.
But if you are a key component to winning a championship, you take that all day long. If you are Chris Paul, a championship, you get Chris Paul on this after he win a championship and ask him on this show or our show and ask him, what would he rather have? A damn NBA championship ring or the Hall of Fame?
Okay, great. But it's not over for him yet because he'll go to your Lakers if he doesn't win with the Suns this year.
Allen, real quick, just to piggyback off of Key's point here, like he's pointing out that Giannis has time still. In your opinion, do you think if Chris Paul and the Suns don't get it this season, the championship, how likely is it to see him back in a finals again? Like, do you think that...
As I mentioned, LA is his home and LeBron is a close friend. And if he's still trying to get that ring, there is great opportunity for a team that, as we know, your Lakers could really use some point guard leadership. They were missing that, along with, of course, health. What an addition he would be, and would he do it? Why not?
Spicy. Let's not speculate because we still have Game 2 tonight. So let's focus on it. Game 2 tonight. Who do you think is going to be the most important player in tonight's Game 2 between the Bucks and the Suns?
I think it's Giannis. It has to be Giannis, even though he has a knee issue going on. When you think about it, he gave you 20 points on a bad knee, on a bad will. The Milwaukee Bucks don't have what the Phoenix Suns have in Chris Paul, a true leader, somebody who knows what to do in crucial situations. But Giannis can grow into that role. He has to make his free throws, no question about it. He has to block out the noise on the road, no question about it. But for them to be able to win this championship, or even better yet, win Game 2, he has to step up to the plate. I think he'll be much better than he was in Game 1 because the injury, obviously, the rehabbing, the medicine that he's taking, all the different things that he's getting attention to on that knee certainly will come to fruition in Game 2. So he's the most important person to me because without him on the floor, this is a totally different team on the road.
Most important player for the Bucks is not Giannis because you know what you're getting from him. The most important player for the Bucks is a guy that they need to keep out on the floor, but some people are saying he can't be out there. That's Brook Lopez. What we saw to Brook Lopez to close out the series against the Hawks was defense and low post scoring, which is a great thing to have this late in the season. We know he can do both. But in pick-and-roll defense, he and Bobby Portis have been exploited in Game 1. And now they've got to make that adjustment. But if they take him off the floor, you lose rebounding, you lose rim protection, and you lose offense, something that the Bucks cannot afford to lose. What they need is the Brook Lopez who finished the series. against the Atlanta Hawks. They need that guy. They need to figure out how to get him back playing that way while also keeping him on the floor, protecting him defensively. You know what that means? Stop switching. It doesn't make sense. In those situations, you can switch 1 through 3, maybe even 1 through 4. But you can't have Brook Lopez on an island. You can't have Bobby Portis on an island with Chris Paul licking his chops, backing up. Let me set you up. Let me get this guy one-on-one. Too much ISO. So this is not going to be about, this is about offense, yes, because if you take Brook Lopez off the floor, it will hurt you. But if you leave him on the floor, it can't hurt you defensively. That's not on Brook Lopez. That is on the coaching. That is on the scheme. They've got to figure out a way to keep him on the floor because he can help you. He'll be important in game 2.
You gave me a whole lot of buts, though, Allen. You gave me well, he's at this and he can't switch on that and he can't. So why is he
even on the coaching?
So why is he even on the floor? You're
because
telling me the defense is a problem and a liability. You're telling me about offense when Giannis healthy is giving you 30 walking blind. Hey, at the end, Giannis is always a 30-piece walking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All day long.
And had that work out in the games he missed.
And then Middleton closes the thing out for you. When you think about Brook Lopez being on the floor and he's supposed to help you out on the defensive side, yes, it's a liability. So why would I have him on the floor when I know I got a reigning defensive player of the year on the floor, a guy who's long, who can make shots inside, bully ball on the offensive end. I'm going to get 30 plus from him when he's healthy, and I believe that he'll be 100% healthy based on what he did in game 1 and the way he looked in game 1. Carry that over to game 2. There's no way in hell I want Brook Lopez out there full time. Not even close, Allen. It's not even close.
Really? So then you missed the end of the Hawks series where he was such an important
It's
player
the
because Giannis
Hawks.
was compromised.
It was the Hawks.
Was
they
it?
play a different style than the Phoenix Suns.
They pick and roll. They do the exact same thing. You still need that. And oh, by the way, DeAndre Ayton was dominating on the board. So
and then you tell me about him on the board. You mentioned that, and I didn't even get into DeAndre Ayton, who had 20 boards.
Yep.
Okay, so. What do you mean he's cleaning the glass? He's not cleaning the glass. DeAndre Ayton's cleaning the glass.
I apologize, everyone. Key was on vacation, so I don't think I'll have to catch him up on what happened in game 1.
All right, guys. You know, I'm expecting a lot of attention and focus on Chris Paul coming into this game too. So maybe we keep an eye on what Cameron Payne can do in some spurts on the court out there, and we'll be trying to figure out what's happening with Brook Lopez against the pick and roll and what the Bucks are doing as well. But what do you guys think? Who else could be an X factor defensively? What can they do to stop Chris Paul in the pick and roll?
I feel like Mike Budenholzer is actually an X factor here because, you know, I mean, I'll say it, that the adjustments that he's made in the playoffs weren't adjustments he made. It's adjustments made by the other team, which is injuries happened. Kyrie Irving went out. They were getting smoked in the first 2 games of that series. He went out. Series changed to their favor. Trae Young, they couldn't stop him. He got hurt. Series changed to their favor. I don't want to see anybody else get hurt. We've had enough all-stars get hurt in the playoffs. So if nothing happens and it stays the same, all right, Mike Budenholzer, you've got to fix whatever's going on with that defense, make the adjustments. So I do think he's an X factor.
I would say Drew Holiday's got to figure out when they switching, is it Booker or is it Chris Paul? You know both of them got the mid-range elbow jumpers coming down. So if you can get in the face of them and harass them and pressure them, then I think that is going to be an X factor defensively for Milwaukee. Outside of that, I mean, they got 3 players that right now are cooking, and that would be Chris Paul, Devin Booker, and DeAndre Ayton. You got to pick your poison. You can't take all 3 out.
Yeah, and a lot of the time on Chris Paul, they went big, right? So you had PJ Tucker on him. Then when they switched, you've got Lopez being exposed, Connaughton, Portis at times. Do you think the option here is to go small and not switch perhaps and start with a Drew Holiday who said, I've got to be more aggressive. I've got to be more assertive against Chris Paul to start.
And that means get over the screens. You know, this idea of switching is nice during the regular season because you don't wear down your guys. Not everybody wants to fight over screens all the time, and that can wear you out. But in a playoff series now, it's basically all for everything right now for a championship. I don't know if switching all 5 makes sense. And when you're Chris Paul and you're really smart and you know, okay, this is what they're doing, great. Who's all right? Bobby Portis is guarding you. You're setting the screen because they're going to switch because that's what they're supposed to do. It's so robotic. It's so predictable. And now I've got Bobby Portis in a one-on-one. Everybody's get out of the way. And I'm playing one-on-one against Bobby Portis, who, God love him, he can't guard guards. You can't. Especially a guy like Chris Paul who can get into mid-range, get the shot he wants. They've got to get away from that concept. Don't be so stubborn and make sure it's the right thing. And that, like when Drew's saying that, that's him suggesting, Key, I've got to fight over screens. I can't just surrender in screens and just go ahead. We're going to switch. No, we've got to keep them guessing on when I'm going to go over and when I'm not.
It's only game 1, too. Let's not get caught up in it. 89% of the time, if you down 2-0, you go home without the trophy. But it's only game 1.
Mm-hmm.
It's only game 1. So we'll see if Budenholzer and the rest of the Milwaukee Bucks make the necessary adjustments.
And in defense of my fellow Stanford grad, Brooke Lopez, I mean, in the pick and roll when he was on Chris Paul, those shots were contested. He was there. Chris Paul hit tough shots. So whether it was drop, whether it was switch, whether it was be more aggressive, try to get the ball out of Chris Paul's hands, Chris Paul was the one who was in control. So back to your point, I think it might be Coach Bud.
See, and again, of course, Roz agrees with me that Brooke Lopez is a factor here. There's one win. Good.
Well, I got one point for Allen, but I guess so. All eyes are
and then
going.
Watch Giannis go for 50 tonight and they win.
Ooh, are you calling that?
And I'll remind you tomorrow.
You calling that? Okay, we'll remember that too.
Remind me tomorrow. Shocking, you'd remind me.
All eyes will certainly be on the pick and roll adjustments of Coach Bud and the Bucks, and of course, all eyes are also on that other team in Wisconsin too. Will Aaron Rodgers be back in a Packers jersey?
A beautiful
once
mystery.
the season kicks off in 2 months? Keyshawn's answer next. Plus, speaking of all-world quarterbacks, guess who will be live on First Take in just a bit? Ever heard of this Patrick Mahomes guy? That's right, the Chiefs superstar joins the show. Keep it locked.
Don't start twisting my words. See, that's why I don't like to do interviews.
Shut your up.
Who scheduled this game?
I got a hell of a reputation, don't I?
I wasn't picked here to be put on the back burner.
They can't cover me. They can't cover me.
Put up awesome numbers, won a Super Bowl ring. What more can you ask for?
All that screaming.
What can you do? I mean, there's nothing you can do. You can't do anything. There's nothing. We can't do. We couldn't throw. We throwing interceptions. Just, man.